All right, thanks for joining us on another episode of Reversing the Rhetoric. Today, we're going to talk about, does gun control reduce violent crime? Not just crime in general, but does it reduce violent crime? So we want to make sure we focus on violent crime specifically because we want our numbers to be as accurate as we could get, which it was very hard finding accurate numbers on this study here. Lucas spent about 5 hours researching, and we spent probably an hour or so together talking about it, going over the numbers and things like that. So what we did is we said, let's pull all the information from 2019, since that seems like the 1 year we can get everything together and get accurate information, and that was pre-COVID. So we don't want skewed numbers, so we just want it to be as relatable and accurate as possible. So what we did is we picked 2 different states that were comparable in size, California, Texas, red and blue states, sorry, because we want to see if does gun control reduce crime. Well, let's check then. Let's see in some of the blue states where there are some of the stricter laws of gun control, and then let's check in some of the states like Texas where they're really loose on gun control laws. So we compared California in Texas, basically on how many violent crimes they have per 100,000 of people, what rank they are out of the 50 states in strictness of gun laws. And then we took 4 different cities, 2 different comparisons, like Detroit and Memphis, blue city, red city, on the homicide, total homicides, and then the rank on their gun laws. And then we took Chicago and Houston and compared them side by side. So we'll reveal these numbers as we go, and we'll see what the data shows. Like I said, we don't have an agenda here. We just want to present the evidence and let you think for yourself.
All right, so one more thing that we want to mention about this is, as he said, from like 5 or 6 hours of research from us. We're not professional researchers, so we're not trying to pass this off as like the end-all, be-all research and this is the definitive numbers. This is just what we're able to dredge up. We're trying to stay as neutral and consistent across the sources we're using as possible. So we don't want to pass this off as like, oh, look at these numbers, we're 100% right.
Case closed.
Yeah, we're trying to be as fair as possible as we can and not like push any agendas. Yeah. So this, just as a disclaimer, if you dug super deep into it and you're like you've been to school for it, you could probably do a lot better.
Oh, it was 10 difference from what you told us,
Exactly.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, take that as you will. All right, so let's go ahead and start comparing some things. Remember, like we said, this is from 2019. And this is information that we've gathered from America's Health. What is that one?
America's Health Ranking.org is one that we got some of the numbers from, as well as the U.S. Census has just as far as like populations and things to try to keep it consistent for the year that we chose. Giffords Law Center, which is a online, they're very vocal about preventing gun violence, I'll put it that way. And so that's where we got some of like the state rankings and everything that you'll see later on, and then also just the CDC for some of like they report on like gun violence numbers, so we got some stuff from them as well. And everything else will be in the description. Everything that we used, all the sources, we'll put it all in there.
Yeah, we'll have them listed in the description below, so you can just click on it and go check it out if you want. Other things I want to mention, a couple other points, is that suicides are included in these gun deaths, which is self-inflicted, so you can kill yourself with a pencil if you wanted to, so whatever. Self-defense shootings are also included in here, accidental deaths, and then there may be some other, miscellaneous ones too as well that kind of skew the numbers, but just have that in mind. Everything in this world is not black and white. Nothing's black and white, right? There's always shades of gray. So it's just interesting. We didn't know what we were going to find, actually. We were like, hopefully this works in their favor, hopefully this works in that favor, but we weren't sure what we were going to find. So we just said, what's the closest states, red and blue, population, put those together, and let's compare them. And that's what we're going to do. So let's get down to business. California, right? So California, and the whole point of this conversation is we want to find out, does gun control reduce violent crime, right? Does stricter laws on guns, making it harder to get guns in people's hands, does that actually reduce violent crime? Okay. And just one thing off the top of my head, I think the most violent city in the United States is, actually it might be the world now, Chicago, Illinois, right? And that's a very, very strict gun law city. So that's just something I just wanted to mention. But anyway, California has 39.5 million people. Texas has 29 million people.
As of 2019.
As of 2019, yeah. California has 447 violent crimes per 100,000 people, right? Texas, which of course they have a lower population, but this is the equalizer. It's per 100,000 people, right? So you got 411. So basically you got like 36 less people per 100,000. So 36 times, however many times 100,000 goes into that. It's a big difference, actually. So that's a pretty heavy difference that I'm just comparing each thing as we go. If I was going off of only this information, I would say, oh yeah, no, it doesn't reduce crime because gun laws here are a lot more lax than they are in California, you know? But let's see how strict Texas gun laws are. Out of the 50 states, this is how strict they are. They are number 33 out of 50. So halfway point would be 25. So they're definitely on the lower end of less restrictions on gun laws. And then California is number 1. So the strictest state in the United States on guns has a significant 36 more people per 100,000 committing violent crimes. So apply that question to this particular scenario. No, it doesn't, but that's just a scenario. There's might be other things we need to take in, other factors we need to also bring into it. We're just going off what we found here. We don't have time to research for days and days and days. So anyway, so based off that, that's interesting. So there's 36 people for every 100. California has 36 more incidents per 100,000 people. So that's just the state. Okay, we just did that one because that was the biggest comparison. Now we have Detroit, Michigan, and Memphis, Tennessee. Detroit is a blue state. Blues are on this side, red states are on this side, right? So Detroit, Michigan has a population of 674,841, while Memphis is only about 20,000 less, okay? So total homicides in Detroit per 100, is that per? No, it's total, sorry. Total homicides are 275 in Detroit. And then in Memphis, 191. So that's a big difference again. That's like 84 so difference. So they have 20,000 more people, but that doesn't, you know.
It doesn't quite account for all the difference.
It doesn't, make up for the difference. So again, does that doesn't prove anything, but does this support that gun violence reduces, that more gun control reduces violent crime? No, it doesn't support that actually. But let's see what the numbers on the rank of how strict they are in gun laws.
And this is for state, this isn't for city.
Yeah.
Just to clarify that.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, the whole, I got you. The rank is for the state. This is for the city, 275 homicides in that city, 191 in that city. But they don't have gun laws per cities, they have gun laws per state. So we're gonna go off of state gun laws. Detroit's number 20. So it's on the top half of the stricter gun laws in the United States, right? And Memphis is 29. It's in the bottom half. It's not, huge distance in there, but it is has less strict gun laws than Detroit, Michigan does. So again, this right here shows contrary to that. The gun control in this particular case, based off of homicides only, doesn't seem to reduce violent crime. Okay, so let's compare Chicago to Houston, right? We live in Houston area, so I'd put it out of my personal opinion. I feel very safe in Texas. Like I'll see people walking around with guns all the time. That's great. I know if someone pulls a gun out, that guy's got my back, or I got that guy's back because I got my gun. We're able to defend ourselves. So I will say in Houston that I've never felt unsafe in Houston, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. And I have felt unsafe in Los Angeles, California many times. I'm sure I could find some spots in Houston I'd feel unsafe too. But overall, I feel definitely safer in Texas, and that's why I'm here. So the weather's great in California. Trust me, if I could leave the weather of Texas behind and get California's weather, I would. But to Houston, man, it just feels more homey and more inviting, I'll put it that way. So Chicago, I guess that's why we have 10,000 people a day moving from California to Texas is what they say. It's like 10,000 a day. It's insane. Anyway, Chicago, Illinois, 2.71 million people. Houston, 2.31 million. How many homicides does Houston have? 276. That's just for the city of Houston. Okay, and this is in 2019. What about Chicago? Well, Chicago has 495. That's double. So strict, stringent gun laws. Much looser, even though Houston is technically a Democratic city. It's weird. I know it tends to vote blue on like the mayors and stuff, but anybody that's been to Texas knows this is a red state and it ain't even close. It's a red state. It's a hard red state. is one of the reddest, if not the reddest state in the United States. So that definitely doesn't support that gun control reduces violent crime. But let's see what the rank is on gun laws. So Houston,
Texas, rather.
A state, yeah, because it's off of Texas, sorry, 33. And Illinois is number 8. Wow. Okay, number 1 and number 8 versus 33. Looks like the evidence shows different. So I would say this, I mean, I guess you have a personal opinion based off that data you want to?
Well, I had a personal opinion prior to the data. But
what was that? I guess
but based off of this data, I mean, and just researching it in general.
And it was hard to find information on this. Trust me, it was very hard.
It was very difficult to find consistent numbers, especially. But I mean, basically, I agree with what you were saying, essentially, how when you look at these studies, like these specific examples, it definitely does not
support that. Yeah.
It doesn't support that at all. It doesn't,
let's talk about,
give any credibility really at all.
Well, let's just give some general circumstances here. As if, say, everybody, in Texas here, like just right now, real quick, how many guns are in the area, the quick vicinity of me? I got one in my office. I got one in my car.
A truck?
You got one in your truck. I don't know everybody else, but anyway, see that right there? There's 3 guns like right here, right away. So I got one in my office, one in my car. He's got one in his car, right? So everybody has guns in Texas. We're not all shooting each other though, right? So anyway, based off that, me personally, I mean, if someone comes in here, starts shooting up the place, I'm going to my room and I'm grabbing my gun, right? Or if we didn't have guns, I'm running out the back door hiding, and hopefully everybody else is safe too, right? So it's like, in my personal opinion, I am a pro, Second Amendment. I do own guns, and I plan on buying them from here on out, and I do back the Second Amendment. But I didn't let that affect our data. This is just straight data. Doesn't mean that my opinion can't change at some point. I mean, I'd have to see some hard evidence that to show me otherwise. It'd have to be statistics. It can't be feelings. But if you can give me some statistics, then my opinion would change. That any intelligent person would change their opinion if they're given contrary evidence, right? So anyway, pull this up. It was interesting. We didn't know what we were going to find. But what's crazy is there's actually less violence in cities that have more guns and less gun control. At least states and cities based off this. Now, we didn't keep digging into all the other ones because there's so many cities, and then we'd have to find ones that have close populations. So we found the closest examples we could find, right?
Like close populations between a red city and a blue city.
Right.
City and blue city.
Because I can't compare 2 blue states, 2 red states. It just doesn't make sense to compare that. So to compare, we just drew a line and said blue, red, equal populations, these 2. What are they compared to? And then we brought the evidence in. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like I said, we don't have an agenda to push or anything. This is not an agenda. We don't have an agenda. This is just for entertainment purposes. We just want to talk about, the rhetoric that's out there and kind of sift through that and clear out all the agendas and just get to the facts. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Please hit the subscribe button. We are trying to get subscribers to build this channel like we did our other channels, Guardian Safe and Lock and Guardian Approved. I hope you like the Reversing the Rhetoric series, and we'll continue to try to find controversial subjects and rhetoric that we can look into, I guess, or dig into. But anyway, all right, well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, bell icon for notifications. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all the social media platforms. Thanks for tuning in.